So I would have addressed this topic somewhat in previous videos, but I think maybe I haven't been specific enough. So maybe this is where this video comes in, even though it's something I should have done like a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Um, so a lot of people tend to think of atheism as some sort of hatred of God, and I find that that is something that's appeared online and in certain publications and with some of the interactions I have on a daily basis. So they think that atheism is, just to reiterate, a hatred of religion or a hatred of God, or and even to the point of thinking it's a hatred towards adherents of a certain religion. I just want to say on a personal note, first of all, that if when I criticize religion or criticize the idea of God or God, however you want to phrase it, um, I can tell you that I'm not feeling hate. Like I'm not feeling hatred. I don't feel hate towards any religious person. I don't feel hatred towards God. I don't feel hate on any level. And I think it's important to address that. Now, that is on a personal level, and you have no evidence to basically look at to believe me. But for what it's worth, I can say, that sort of negative emotion isn't involved. And what I'm really looking at is just basically the logic behind atheism, the logic behind even religion. Like, what kind of rationality do religions have when it comes to praising God or not praising God or whatever, or their customs, et cetera, et cetera. But these are just ideas, and I'm essentially criticizing ideas more than I'm hating something. Now, there is something that directly defines hating God, and it's called mesotheism. And you can look it up, and you could find lots of related terms like dystheism, and you can find ancient customs where in pagan religions where you don't have to worship God if you're angry at him. You can punish certain gods if you're angry at them. So there's all these related terms when it comes to atheism and mesotheism. Um, but if and I feel kind of silly saying this, but I mean the thing is, like, if you're atheist, you're not angry at anything necessarily, especially when it comes to God. The thing is, you do not believe in God, so there is nothing to hate. Like, you're not hating anything. So that is a very important distinction. You're not angry at God or hating God or anything like that. You there is a lack of belief in God. There is nothing there. So I feel that's an important distinction, and it is something that usually comes up. I just don't think I've ever addressed it before this specifically. Now, if you want to focus on the word hate, there are, especially when it comes to blasphemy law and libel and things like that, you can think about hate as defined in a legal framework. And hate, and while Canada is they're a little bit more strict than the U.S. on these things, but they have somewhat of a similar kind of definition of hate. And if you're talking about defaming someone or inciting violence against someone or a specific group of people, or if you're looking to intimidate or harass or incite some sort of like bodily harm or psychological harm towards somebody, that would be defined as hate speech. You would be actually trying to delegitimize a person or call for violent action against that person. That would be hate, and that would be hate speech. Um, but when it comes to atheism and you're criticizing a religion, what you're doing, and even to the point of criticizing God, not that I think God exists, just to reiterate, criticizing the idea of God, what you're doing is you're criticizing ideas, and ideas need to be criticized in a healthy democracy. Like, they just need to be criticized. And there's if you think about the hurt feelings of God, like, I mean, how fragile can God be that he can't handle criticism? I mean, so it's you're essentially criticizing ideas more than you're criticizing people. Now, there are representatives of faith, obviously. So, I mean, they're closely stitched together. But I mean, if you're criticizing ideas, some people take it very personally, and it's not, and this especially happens with religion. People feel like religion is somewhat akin to race. So it's very tied to to inherited characteristics of a person. And this happens a lot with Islam, where you see people think Muslims are brown. And I don't know why that happens, but they can't separate the two. But if blasphemy law in Canada has been struck down, last year. I mean, just so we're clear on that, blasphemy law has been struck down. But again, if you're criticizing ideas, you're not hating anybody. Like, nobody's being hated. Although there is a tendency for people to feel that way, and I don't know why. Anyway, that's all I want to say. I should look more specifically into hate laws in Canada. Although I can tell you, but my video channel is not about hate. It doesn't matter how much you rant and rave against it; it's not hate. Yeah, blasphemy laws have been struck down as of last year. So, yeah, that's all. Bye.